everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to be altering a tin can to make a candle holder, and let me tell you why. So I had purchased a couple candles from Hallmark, and one of them arrived looking like the glass jar it came in had literally exploded. Thankfully, I did not stick my hand in the box before removing the paper and discovering the shattered glass. My heart was also broke. Even though Hallmark was nice and replaced it, I didn't want it to go to waste, so my friend Tim removed it from the box and disposed of the glass and cleaned off the candle. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, and then I realized that I have this tin can that is the perfect size to hold it. Well, almost the perfect size. It was a tiny bit big, but I'm going to show you how I resolved that issue. Oh, and I also have the lid to that can, so I'm going to be using that as well. So I'm going to be altering that can using the products that you see here, which include Valspar interior paint and 2 different apple barrel paints and Mod Podge and some paintbrushes and a napkin. Okay, before I go any further, I wanted to show you that the products that I'm using are safe for the outside of this candle holder. Feel free to pause the video so that you can read each of these. I am not putting any of it on the inside, and it'll be away from the flame. I also wanted to share this information with you so that you would know what is safe to use. So I'm also including information on chalk paint, even though I am not using that on this project. So the first thing I'm going to do is melt some wax and color it red to match the candle so that I can pour that around the edges to fill up that empty space so that the candle fits solidly into the tin. And I'm doing this before altering the tin because I was concerned that the extremely hot wax would make the tin hot enough that it might damage the paint or Mod Podge in some way, and I didn't want to take any chances. Okay. The candle has solidified, so it is in there and it's not coming out, it's not wiggling around. And then before I go on to the next step, I am just using alcohol and a paper towel to wipe down all of the surfaces that are going to be painted, just to make sure that there is not any oily prints on them or dirt or anything, so that it's nice and clean. And then I took like a newspaper or sale paper and taped it to a piece of cardboard so that I can use that as my work surface, and the paint will be on here, and then I'll be able to lift it up and move it because it's on the cardboard, or just slide it out of the way. And let's see what else. Oh yes, okay, so there are places on the can that I do not want painted the color, the light green color. I'm going to be painting it. I want it white because I am going to be putting a napkin there. So to keep from painting that area, I am going to tape this on just by taking some tape, rolling it like we do for other things and sticking it on the back because I don't want it on the front. It'll get in the way of what I'm going to be doing. And I am going to be doing this on both sides because I plan on adding the napkin on both sides. So let me do this really quick here. So I'm just going to line this up. Just happens to be a line on this side of the can. I didn't put it there. It is there. And I'm just going to kind of line this up to what I think is about the center. Okay. And then to make sure that it's lined up on the other side, I'm just going to lay a pencil across when I'm doing that. So let me do that real quick. Okay, now that's done, and I am going to be spreading out another piece of paper here just to be on the safe side. And it doesn't matter that this isn't stuck all the way around because I'm not looking for a perfect circle. So, you know, I'm just going to be going around it. It'll be fine. And then I do not want paint on the inside here. I don't want it near the flame. It has to be on the outside of this. So I'm going to be very careful to not do that. And at some point while I'm doing this, I will most likely be putting this lid on to protect that, but also I'm going to be painting the lid anyway, so it's fine. So anyways, let me get the paint ready and get started. I'm not going to be using a brush. I'm going to be using this little sponge, kind of like a sponge dauber, and I am going to speed up this process. Now that paint is dry and it's time for me to paint this area that I'm going to be doing with this white paint from Plaid, same company that makes the Mod Podge that I'm going to be using. And I'm going to be using just a little sponge dauber brush again, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to speed this up just like before. Okay, now it's time to get the napkin ready because that's what I'm going to be using to put in those white areas on the can. And I've actually already started this, but you have to separate the two layers. And what I usually do is just kind of wet my two fingers, press them together, and it comes apart. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult than that, but I went ahead and got that started to save some time. And so I'm just going to pull that right off. And then I need to figure out what area I'm using. And I'm going to be cutting out a few, so I'm just going to show you one. And so what I'm using is a lid. It's the same size lid as on my other can, but this is the size circle that I'm going to need. I actually cut those circles to match this. So it wasn't like, oh, coincidentally. No, I mean, that's what I did. And so I am going to lay this on here, and I already know where I want it. So I'm just going to kind of lay it right here. Trying to get it to move around just right. Okay. And then I am going to be using a paintbrush, and here we go, some water. You can use scissors to cut this out, different techniques. I like using water and a paintbrush and just going around the edges, and that makes it easier to tear. Napkins can be hard to tear, but if they're wet, it just seems to tear so easily. And I don't know why. Oh, it must be the ink on the napkin. It's kind of weird. I've never had this happen before. Anyways, so now this should just tear right off, just like that. And I'm going to go all the way around, just tearing this and holding the lid down. It just makes it easier to have that lid as a guide, even though I could just, you know, lift it off and do it. So let me get this all done because I would like to show you. Looks like I need a little bit more water right there. So you can always add water at any time. And the edges are ragged. That is what I like. If you like doing it different, I think you should do it whatever way makes you happy. So here I'm going to kind of use my fingernails to go around the edge because that corner was a little bit difficult to get. And I'm going to go around right here. The nice thing is when it's wet, seriously, you can just use a fingernail and get off the excess. But for me, like I said, I like the ragged edges. Okay, so I've got that done. I'm going to lift this off now. And there is the piece that I'm going to be putting on the can. Now, the paint is still drying, so I'm just kind of getting things started, and I wanted to show you about removing the back on the napkin if you've never done napkin crafting before, and also the technique that I like to do to cut out the piece of napkin. Well, not cut out, but remove the piece that I want to use. So that was my technique, and I'm going to go finish getting some more pieces off because I'm going to put one on the lid and one on each side of the can. Okay, I've got my napkin cut out just the way I want it. And so next I'm going to be using some Mod Podge. This one is matte Mod Podge. There's a variety of Mod Podges that you can use. I'm using a paintbrush. You can use a foam, paintbrush, whatever you have that you want to use. And I like using plastic wrap because it helps prevent the napkin from tearing and helps to smooth it out, especially since the can has so many ridges in it. In fact, I may end up also using a bone folder. I'm not even sure I'm going to need the bone folder, but I want to point out that if you don't have a bone folder, even a popsicle stick or anything that will help go between those ridges. So we'll see what I need when the time comes, but I just want to show you what I'm going to be using. And now let's get started. Okay, so first I'm just double checking as I set this here. And if I see little areas that may need touch up with paint, I can do that afterwards. It pretty much looks like it's going to be perfect. So I'm just going to open up my Mod Podge here and put some into that container. And I'm going to start by brushing it on the white painted area. And it's okay if it gets on the rest of the can. I might even end up putting it over the entire can. Have not decided that yet. We will see. But basically, you just want to get a good coverage on here. It doesn't have to be soggy or anything. I guess soggy would be the word. You don't have to over apply it. Okay, so I've got that on there. And so next I'm going to take this and make sure that I'm getting everything lined up, because once this goes down, it's down. So if I don't have it in the right spot, it's going to be too late. Okay, so to be honest with you, this is a little bit difficult to do on camera because I don't want to put my head in the way and it's hard to see the entire area. Okay, so this is where the plastic wrap comes in handy. So let me grab a piece here. Oh, come on. There we go. Did not want to tear. Okay, so get your plastic wrap all opened up, not all wrinkled or anything, and stretch it out and lay it across and pull it down tight. And I'm loving this because pulling this down tight, I don't know if you can see that, but it is taking the napkin into the ridges, and so I may not have to use the bone folder or the craft stick, popsicle stick, because this looks like everything is seriously falling into place. Now, you could not do this on the napkin without the plastic wrap, or you would just tear the napkin. It would tear, it would wrinkle, it would be a disaster. So that is the reason for the plastic wrap. If you are new to napkin crafting, then that would be a good thing for you to learn. So I'm just going over it really good to make sure that it is attached really well. I am so thrilled that this that it went into the ridges without me having to, you know, do this on it, because it's in there. Let me see if you could see it. It went into the ridges beautifully. Okay, so now with that done, I'm going to carefully lift the plastic wrap off. And if there's any loose edges, when I put the second coat of Mod Podge over the top of it, it will lay down, which is kind of one of the reasons why I'm saying I may Mod Podge the entire can, just in case. We'll see. But I see edges right over here where I might have to touch that up with a little bit of the green paint, or not. I'm not looking for perfection on this anyway. That's the fun thing about upcycling, altering, napkin crafting, is that it doesn't have to be perfect. I actually wish that this was a little bit rounder. I must have missed those bottom edges, but I can fix that. Seriously, because I just scraped paint off, so I'm going to have to go over that anyways with paint. Okay, you're getting to see boo-boos, not boo-boos. I'm just showing you the reality of this. So now I'm going to get Mod Podge on here, and I'm just going to paint it over the top all the way to the edges. Okay, making sure that all of the edges are down. And this right here is where I'm hoping, if I put on some Mod Podge, that it'll get it wet enough that I can kind of round this off a little bit more. I don't know how I missed that. And it's okay that I have to go back over it with some paint. I knew that I was going to be doing some touch-up, so it's not a problem. But just carefully go over the napkin. And in the end, you may want to add a second coat. Just depends. Wait till it dries, check it out, and just see how it looks. Okay. That is going to work for me. Obviously, I cannot roll this over and do the other side while this is wet, so I'm going to do the other side off camera. But I'm going to set that right up there and move this out of the way and reach across here, and here's the lid, and I'm going to do the same thing with the lid. This piece is going to go right in there, and because the lid is round, it doesn't matter which direction that goes, but it does matter that I'll have to probably put a little bit more Mod Podge in there. There. Let me open this up. And I'll do that. And so while I'm doing this, I would really like to know, you can leave me a comment below and ask me if you have ever asked me. I'm asking you, answer. Have you ever altered a tin can? I have more than one question here. So have you ever altered a tin can is my first question. Have you ever made a candle or decorated, you know, a jar or anything for a candle like this? Okay, let me grab another piece right here. And also, have you ever done napkin crafting before? So those are my three questions. Have you ever altered a tin can? Have you ever done a candle? And have you ever done napkin crafting? Because I would like to know what my viewers do and what they enjoy doing, so that I know more of what I want to share on my channel. So this being the new year, this is a good time for me to learn more about my viewers. Okay, so there we go. Oh, that came out so beautiful. And by the way, I've been noticing, I already know this about my webcam, but I've been noticing that these beautiful red roses look orange, but they're not. They are red and pink and beautiful. So let me just get this on here. And we are done for now. We're just gonna let this all dry. And when I come back, I will have the other piece on there, and I will also have touched up some of what's on there. And I'm thinking of something else I might do to this, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, I finished this off camera. I did the touch-ups that needed to be done, and I added the finishing touches. So let me show you what I did. I added some gold speckles. This is basically done with a splatter technique, and I love the way that it looks. I just think it adds something special to this, and I did that using this pure gold paint from Plaid and a fan brush and a stick. And so basically I just got a little bit of the paint on the brush and then tapped it like this to get it onto the can. And I could not do that on camera because it just would have been everywhere, and I didn't want to get it on my camera or on my laptop. But I am so very happy with how this turned out. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm so happy that I was able to salvage that candle that came in the broken jar, because I hate for things to go to waste, especially a perfectly good candle. So I love salvaging things. I love upcycling things, and that makes this a perfect project for me because I was able to do both. And now I'll put some pictures up here so you can get a better look.